Hello and welcome to this videocast. This week we're going to learn a little bit about MLA citations to create a works cited page or to create an annotated bibliography. So let's get started. Here I have a PowerPoint that I've created and I can upload this to the content module if you'd like me to, but I think that everything that you need will be right here. Now if I go a little quickly during this video, all you have to do is pause the video, look up whatever you want to look up in the book and start it back up again. So if I move a little quickly, don't let that make you nervous. Just use your pause button. Okay, so let's take a look here at our first rule. Do not try to memorize the MLA citations in your textbook. There's no need to. Comp 2 is supposed to teach you how to use the book to look up any questions you might have. So nobody expects you to memorize it, nobody does memorize it, and even if you did memorize it, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the MLA rules have changed in the last year or two. APA rules changed last year. These rules change from time to time. Every once in a while the people who make up these rules will just think about how technology has changed and they'll change the way we do the citations. And so when they do that, you just have to look everything up anyway, so don't memorize it, just look it up. So how do we look things up? Well, you might grab your textbook and look at section MLA. The first page shows you how to find the MLA works cited models that you need. So if you look a little bit down the page, I believe this is the bottom half of the page, you might see single author is on page 451. 2 or 3 authors you might have, 4 more authors. I've highlighted here for you the things that I think you really need to pay attention to. Number 20, if you decide you want to cite a comic book, there is a rule for that. So there's a rule for all these different things. Here's the directory that's located on the next page. Rules for all these different things. Highlighted again what was important for you guys to look at. But you don't need to look at all of these rules. You only need to figure out what kind of sources you have and look at the rules that you need. So let's begin with authors. If you have a single author, here's Wood, last name first, comma, space, capitalize all of the words in a name, and here is James. We spell it out, we don't initialize it. We put a period here. How Fiction Works, that's the name of the book. A book is a long work. Anything that's a long work we put in italics. The place that it's published, then we have a colon, and after that the publisher, the name of the publisher, comma, the year it was published, and then here we have medium, which is new to MLA. We just either put print or web or DVD. Most of the time you guys will be putting print or web. Take a look at 2 or 3 authors. So you've got last name, comma, first name, comma, and. Spell out the word and. Don't use a plus or an ampersand. Then we see that this is in normal order or natural order. Errol Morris. So first name and then last name. Name of the book in italics again. Place, colon, publisher, comma, year, and print. One more. Last name, comma, first name, comma, and then first name, last name, comma, and first name, last name. And here we've got a short work, and the pattern for this is short works get quotation marks, and we capitalize all major words. So this will appear just as it appeared in the newspaper article. All major words are capitalized, put quotation marks around short articles. Down here, New York Times is considered a long work. Long works get italics. Notice there's no period here. And we have day, month, year. We shorten those dates. Then we have pages. In this particular newspaper, they have a section, so week 10, WK10. I'm not sure what kind of page numbering that is. It's very common for newspapers to have section A10. And then we have medium, so this was, again, a print source. So that's authors. Let's take a look at our next thing. If you have 4 or more authors, you can type out every name as this person has chosen to do, or you can name all the authors, or you can name just the first author and then follow that by et al. So if this were cited using et al, it would just look like this: Harris, comma, Sean, comma, et al. No period here, use a period here. And that's just to save some typing. It's pretty common in MLA that if there are 4 or more authors, we just don't type them all. We just do the first one and put this in, then that lets us know that there are more. But we just didn't feel like typing them. That's the way we do it in MLA. Okay, author is an organization. This is pretty common. If an organization created some kind of pamphlet or brochure, like the National Wildlife Federation has apparently created some kind of book, or it might be a short book like a pamphlet, then you use the organization as the author. And so again, we've got all the same stuff. A book is considered a long work, so it's in italics, place, publisher, year, medium, print. So pattern, 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 it's the same pattern over and over. Unknown author, for any kind of source, magazine, website, book, whatever. If there's an unknown author, if you don't know who the author is, you leave it off. Don't put unknown author or anonymous. Instead, just leave the author's name off. So, short work here. Poverty by Outdated Numbers is the name of the short work. How do we know it's a short work? Well, because it's in quotation marks. Here it says it's an editorial, so that's the type of work it is. It's appeared in a longer work, the Boston Globe, a newspaper. No punctuation mark right here. And then 20 September 2008, so that's our date of publication. And here's section A16. So that's pretty typical for a newspaper. Down here, more about how to do a short work. Here we've got a short work named Heat, and it appeared on Frontline. Well, that's a television program. So again, the pattern is short work, the name of an episode, gets quotes. Long work gets italics. Whoever produced it gets put next. The network, station, city of broadcast, date of broadcast, medium. And again, all of this information just makes it really easy for another person to come along and take a look at what you've done. Okay, so let's move right along. You guys can look in your book at the rest of this material. Magazines and journals. What I want to draw your attention to is anything that's a journal has a volume and an issue number. Anything that's a magazine has the month and the year. And if it's published more than once a month, it'll have day, month, and year. What I want you to see is that's exactly the same as an article in an online journal or an online magazine. The only thing that's different is the stuff that's at the end. So we've got author, short article, the name where it was found, of the journal where it was found, volume, issue, year, pages, medium. Over here, take a look, slow this down if you want to later, but this is all exactly the same information in the same order. The only thing that's different is if it's a print source, you put the word print, and over here, if it's an online source, you put web and the date you accessed it. Same with a magazine. Everything is exactly the same. The only thing that's different is with a print magazine, you put print, and with an online magazine, you put web and the date you accessed it. So that's really easy. Newspapers, just like magazines and journals, if you accessed a print copy, you'll follow the directions for a print copy. If you accessed an online copy, you'll follow the directions for a print copy. But you'll add at the end, instead of print, you'll put web and the date you accessed it. So that's pretty handy because really you only are learning one set of rules, and this other thing is just something you tack on to the end. Database, want to draw your attention to the fact that the stuff that you cite from a database is just like the way that you would cite it for a magazine, journal, or newspaper. So here's a database journal. Last name, first name, short work, name of the journal it appeared in, volume, issue, year in parentheses, and here's our page numbers. That's the way you do journals. That's the way you do any journal, online, print, or database. The only difference is if you access it from a database, you put the name of the database. Here's Expanded Academic ASAP, medium, web, and the date you accessed it. Here is a magazine, and you do the same thing. here's the name of the database, and web, the date it was accessed. Here's another journal. It's the same thing. The only thing that's different is in this journal there were no page numbers. So if there's no page numbers, you put NPAG. Entire website. We rarely use entire websites. Rarely use it, because you guys might have noticed in that Find 10 Sources activity, if you cite an entire website, what you're saying is you read the whole website. Most students get information from very large websites that they didn't read all of. So the only time that you would use this is if you had a short website and you actually did read the entire thing. Otherwise, you would use short work from a website. And here are the directions for that. Very easy to follow. Again, author, short work. In other words, what was the name of the article and what is the name of the website that you accessed it in. Here's something different for websites. Here's a new pattern. For all websites and for online books, you always put the name of the website and the sponsor. Then if we have an update, then we're looking for our medium and the date that we accessed it. So that's pretty familiar stuff. Down here, if we have no author, we already learned the pattern for that. Just leave the author off and we just follow the directions. Books. We talked a little bit about books already. Last name first, book title in italics, city, publisher, date, and then notice that here's your medium, print. Down here, if I access the same book through Google Scholar or Google Books, I would put the name of the place where I accessed the book, and then again, web and the date that I accessed it. Here is what that book cover looks like, and I was able to find it through Google Scholar. I found it on Google Books. You might also want to cite an anthology. For instance, your practical argument textbook is an anthology, is a collection of essays. And so if you decided you wanted to cite one of the essays, like one of the essays about the water controversy, the water bottle controversy, it would be last name, first name, the short name of the article, like Defying the Nalgene or whatever, the title of the anthology, like Practical Argument, whoever edited that book, the place, the publisher, the date, the pages that the Nalgene essay was, or whatever essay you used, and then print, since you have a print copy of your book. If we were using ebooks, of course, we would just follow the ebook directions. Please avoid citing encyclopedias. Generally speaking, when you're done writing a research paper, you will be an expert. You won't need to cite an encyclopedia. Online video clip. There's the directions for citing it. It's rule number 49, and you could have found it if you had used the directory. And so I have a little question for you. So far you have learned how to use the directory. You have learned how to identify citation patterns and how to look up what you need to know. So using what you've learned, do you think that you can get in the discussion board in Ozarka and post a citation for the video clip and the online discussion board posting that you found interesting when you did the Find 10 Sources activity? I want you to try. Might not be perfect, but I want you to post those to the discussion board, and I will be making a thread for that. If you have any questions, be sure to continue to post those questions to the discussion board, but I think that this video will help you to use section MLA of your book to cite anything that you might need to know. I hope you have a great night. Talk to you later.